The art of money. Be so rich money flow like crazy. Before you ever touched money, you were already made of gold. You are not an accident in the economy of the universe. You are not a lost thread in some tangled net of numbers and needs. No, you are a creation of such sublime intention, such precise beauty, that even the stars envy the artistry stitched into your soul. You are made in the divine image, shaped by presence, breathed alive by the same force that paints sunsets in crimson and carves oceans into rhythm. And in that image, in that likeness, you were born to do one thing without apology: create and prosper. Chapter 1. You are created in God's image, born to create and prosper. The illusion that you must hustle for your holiness, suffer for every dollar, or barter your essence for financial scraps, crumbles under the truth of who you are. You were never designed for scarcity. You were birthed from sacred abundance, an extension of Creator's own longing to express beauty, expansion, and overfull generosity. To prosper isn't selfish, it's the most honest reflection of your origin. Fruit doesn't apologize for being ripe, neither should you. So, what if money isn't something you chase, but something you remember? What if wealth isn't out there at all, but instead, blooming quietly inside you, waiting for permission to pour through your being, like sunlight through stained glass? The moment you accept your divine inheritance, the moment you release the idea that money is earned through effort alone, is the moment it starts to move, to magnetize, to spiral toward you with joy, because it finally recognizes you as its rightful mirror. To create is to speak spirit into substance, to bring the invisible into form, not through force, but through frequency. Money is just one form of expression, one palette in your artist's kit, and when you use it with intentional beauty, with reverent imagination, it multiplies like art released into a gallery of souls. Money loves a lit-up being, one who creates without doubting their worth, one who sees a blank page and knows it was made for their brushstroke. You don't have to become magnetic, you already are. But you do have to remember that your desires, those deep golden longings pulsing beneath your ribs, aren't random. They are divine coordinates, hints from all that is, of the masterpiece you came here to sculpt. When you honor those desires without shame, something ancient unlocks. The heavens nod, the soil tilts in your favor, and money, sweet ceremonial money, dances its way into your field, not because you forced it, but because it felt safe, honored, and seen. You're not here to follow formulas. You are here to create your own. You are the equation. You are the solution. You are the vision in motion. And as a vision, you must choose to see life not as a lottery ticket, but as a painting in progress. You get to select your colors. You get to press your palm into the landscape of reality and say, I am here. I am worthy. I am willing. Willing to receive not just enough, but overflow. Willing to stop giving my success to make others comfortable. Willing to be the evidence of what happens when someone remembers they were born to shine, to flourish, to glow so brightly that money has no choice but to gather, curious and delighted. Your prosperity is legacy. Each dollar aligned with divine purpose becomes a seed that blossoms into generosity, into elegance, into relief not just for you, but for every life your wealth touches. When you flourish, you become a permission slip for others, a living sermon, silent but sovereign. Your abundance is a lighthouse, not a fortress. It calls, it guides, it reminds the world there is more than enough goodwill, more than enough beauty, more than enough divinely aligned wealth for all of us. So begin here, not with strategy, but memory. Remember your source. Remember your creative fire. Remember your divine identity, untouched by lack, uncontaminated by limitation. Step into your rightful place as co-creator, not competitor. As craftsman of goodness, not grasper for scraps. Let money come to you like light to sunflowers, like waves to the shore, inevitable, rhythmic, generous. This is how you claim your space in the gallery of wealth. Not by demanding, but by becoming. Not by grasping, but by glowing. Because once you see yourself clearly, radiant, regal, unimaginatively rich in soul, the world sees it too. And money? It hurries toward its artist. It races home. It knows where it belongs. In your hands. In your heart. Flowing freely. Because you, beloved, were born to prosper. Chapter 2. The Law of Increasing Return. Knowing what you want, Desire, when sacred, is the whisper of the divine calling you home to yourself. It is not desperate, nor lacking. It is rich with recognition of what already lives within you. The seed of your wanting is not a flaw to be dismissed. It is a map to the treasure. Yet this map only unfolds in the hands of the clear-hearted. The law of increasing return responds not to chaos, but coherence. There is power in precision, not in control, but in clarity. When you know what you want, with the strength of a full-body yes, with the fire of focused devotion, the universe rushes to co-create with you. Picture God as a painter, waiting for you to define your canvas. The scope of the color, the direction of the light, the depth of the hue, all determined by how vividly you dream. What arrives is not random, it echoes the truth of your certainty. So ask yourself, what would you desire if you believed manifestation wasn't a question mark, but a mirror? What would you call into your orbit if you knew your worth was never on trial? To know what you want is the holiest kind of intimacy, a return to the frequency of your essence, unsilenced. The clearer the note you strike, the louder the song that returns. This is why vague wishing leads nowhere, because the universe cannot sculpt in the fog. It responds to geometry, intention, artistry. Want divinely and want specifically. Say it aloud, not as a beggar, but as a being entwined with the divine rhythm of life. Write your vision on paper thick with dreams. Describe it like a lover, with detail, with reverence, with heat. When your desires are kissed with emotion and clarity, the law of increasing return multiplies what you transmit. Everything you focus on expands, not arbitrarily, but exponentially. Your thoughts are seeds, and your feelings are water. What do you water daily? Do you tend the weeds of doubt or the blooms of belief? The law does not judge, it mirrors. It says, yes, and more, to what you tithe with your attention. Feed your desires with vivid imagination, with heartbeats that say, this is happening, with breath that already feels the arrival. You're not chasing, you're aligning. Money, desire, abundance, they are portals of expression, not destinations. To want is to claim your identity. To declare, I am made for more, is not vanity, it is velocity. The more specific your expression, the more magnetic your vibration. Let your wanting be infused with gratitude and certainty, not lack, not grasping, but glowing. You don't attract what you fantasize about occasionally. You attract what you familiarize yourself with endlessly. Let your desire feel like home. And let us be clear, abundance, real abundance, is never fetched from outside. It is recalled from within. Knowing what you want is really remembering who you are. The person who lives the life you crave is not some distant version of you. It is you, unmasked. When you remove the fog of guilt, shame, indecision, and people-pleasing, your true longing speaks, and where it speaks congruently, life answers. So bless your wanting with clarity. Give it shape, give it detail. Don't just wish for money, define how, why, and what the flow will bless. Money loves mission. Money responds to sincerity. Dress your desires in full colors. What does abundance smell like? Where do you go when you feel truly rich? What do your feet touch? Who do you bless from your overflow? Let your desire create a mood that breathes. Make it so real, it begins to wake up inside you before it even arrives. This is divine focus, not effortful striving, but devotional attention. You do not try harder for your dreams. You hold them as true, as real, as rooted. The law of increasing return meets you there, at the intersection of clarity and expectancy. It says, what you have asked for with depth, I shall return with expansion. So clean out confusion. Let go of halfway dreams that never fit. Release the mild wishes and the maybe somedays. Choose. No. Declare. Manifestation marvels at the sound of your conviction. Because when your whole being says yes, an unwavering, unshakable yes, the universe begins to echo that yes, back in miracles, synchronicities, and provision wrapped in grace. Whatever you ask for in fullness, with faith, with feeling, returns not as an equal answer, but as an overflowing one. That is the promise of the law. That is the power of your clarity. The more definite your dream, the more divine its return. So sculpt boldly, desire deeply, articulate beautifully, name it with your soul, and let the cosmic rivers rush in with exponential grace. Chapter 3. If you hold yourself dear, then don't fetter yourself with evil. Where there is love, there must be protection. And the first temple you must guard is yourself. You are the sacred treasury, the living altar, the repository of dreams, desire, and divine inheritance. When you begin to hold yourself dear, not just outwardly, not performatively, but you become utterly magnetic. The energy in the bruised and quiet corners of your own heart, of reverence, emanates from your bones. And the currency of the cosmos responds. But how easy it is to forget. How easily we chain ourselves to thoughts that betray us, silent daggers of doubt, shame, or unworthiness, that slip into our psyche like whispers. How easily we make bargains with fear, compromising our truth for temporary approval, muting our gifts to fit into molds that could never contain our brilliance. Evil in this context is not a monster with glowing eyes. It is anything that contracts the infinite within you. Anything that tells you you are less than divine. It could be an old belief you've inherited like a cursed heirloom, left double quotation mark. You cannot invite abundance to a home that is hostile to your own spirit. Money flows toward delight, toward radiance, toward congruency. When your insides are aligned with your highest self, when you think generously, speak lovingly, and act from integrity, you become a purified vessel. Not perfect, but potent, cleared of the rusted thoughts and tangled energies that block reception. Self-respect is the scaffolding of prosperity. It's not just about affirming I am worthy. It's about operating in ways that confirm it again and again. It's about saying no to chaos, to scarcity narratives, to people who treat you like an afterthought. It's about blessing yourself with rest when the world demands more toil. It's about choosing sacred slowness over frantic chasing. Because speed does not yield richness, presence does. You do not have to be punished to be powerful. You do not have to be constantly striving to be abundant. That idea that suffering is a prerequisite for success is one of the old devils in disguise. Let it go. Let all of it go. Forgive yourself for the times you fettered your worth with martyrdom, for the times you stayed too long in environments that shrank you for the illusion of stability, for the times you wore guilt as if it were gold, for the lies you told your own reflection that you were too much, were not enough, or that abundance was for others, not for you. Undo the bindings with breath. Each inhale is a remembering, each exhale an untying. Cleanse your inner auric field like a sacred temple. Sweep out the cobwebbed corners of outdated beliefs. Light candles of self-honor in the hallways of your heart. Speak to yourself like the beloved heir of heaven that you are. Because when you hold yourself dear, when you become deeply loyal to your joy, dangerous to your doubt, and unfailingly faithful to your own voice, you activate a frequency that cannot be faked, and money knows the sound of self-love. It listens and lingers near those who do not give from depletion, but overflow. It travels with the ones who do not beg, but command gently. It lands in the palms of those who protect their peace as if it were gold, because it is. So ask yourself often, does this thought honor me? Does this action reflect my sacredness? Does this energy expand me or shrink me? And choose accordingly, with clarity, with courage, without apology. Because you, beautiful soul, are not here to chase scraps. You are here to feast. You are not meant to entertain energies that belittle your brilliance. Your very existence is a celestial statement. I am worthy. I am divine. I am rich not because of my effort, but because of my essence. So do not fetter yourself with anything less, and watch how life, including money, unfetters itself in response. Chapter 4. Do what's admirable, as an accumulation of merit. Let your life become a lighthouse, not because it demands the world to look, but because it cannot help but shine. Each admirable act you perform, each time you pause to hold space for another soul, each time you rise in truth when hiding would be easier, each time you choose generosity over gain, threads its way into the invisible tapestry that sustains immense wealth. True money, the kind that flows like honey into your hands, is not conjured only by desire, but called by depth. This is the hidden currency most forget, the sacred accumulation of unseen merit. The world teaches us to tally results, sales closed, followers gained, hours worked. But spirit watches patterns. It watches the quiet nobility of your inner choices, how you show up when no one claps, how you treat the unremarkable moments, how you hold your frequency in the flickerings of doubt. These, my love, are your brushstrokes, your golden ledger. The reward may not come when you expect, but it always comes. often in surprising ways. An opportunity, a windfall, a necessary person who sees you without distortion. Admirability is not perfection, it is alignment. It's not being flawless, but being faithful to your higher path. And sometimes that means saying no when it would be easier to say yes, or giving when it would feel safer to keep. It may look like integrity that costs you in the moment, but repays you in lifetimes. Each honorable choice becomes a glowing seed sown into the fertile subconscious. Each seed embeds its resonance into the field. And where resonance lives, so too does return. Merit is a magnet. But not in the way the world defines it, not as egoic striving or transactional tit for tat. No, this merit is whispered, woven in reverence, done in the stillness of your sacred heart. It carries the radiant memory of who you truly are beneath survival. When your acts align with your soul's palate compassion, creativity, excellence, faith, then money no longer needs to be chased. It recognizes you. It seeks you. Because abundance speaks soul first. Do what's admirable, not for applause but for alignment. Do it because your very being craves coherence with goodness, truth, expansion. Do it because wealth born from worthiness never withers. Let your life enchant God, the universe, the divine economy of unseen circulation. Sow small acts of grace, like stardust across your day. Money finds its way to the ones who build cathedrals out of kindness, who polish their names with quiet valor, who make art out of honesty. The truth is this: you are already accumulating. With every choice, every word, every whisper of yes to the higher frequency, you are building a gravitational field around you that draws forth treasure that matches your amplitude, your fidelity to the beautiful, the true, the noble. Don't worry about when or how. That's not your domain. Your domain is to remain admirable in your conduct, wealth-conscious in your beingness, rich in the way you treat yourself and others, even in scarcity. Real money, the type that won't leave when tides shift, respects admiration woven through action. Each morning, rise with this vow: may I walk richly, even before I am paid for it. Let your intention be less about reward and more about radiance. For the paradox lives here. When you release the craving for return, the return becomes undeniable. You are not just earning income, you are accumulating energy, storing treasure in the vault of vibration, and soon your external world catches up with the wealth already blooming through your inner choices. Be the one who blesses while unseen. Be the one who keeps the room warm with virtue when no one is looking. Be the artist of truth in a world of shortcuts. Do what's admirable. Let merit become your silent, unstoppable river, and money will flow downstream toward you with reverence. Chapter 5. Advance confidently. In the direction of your dream, meet success. The dream lives in you for a reason. It is not decorative. It is directive. It whispers in your quiet moments, tugs at your chest when you think you've forgotten, appears in the sky at dawn, painted like prophecy. You are not meant to wait until the way is clear. You are meant to walk, as though the path will rise to meet your feet as you go, because it will. Confidence is not the loud clamor of certainty. It is the soft steadiness of faith. It is not arrogance but alignment, a holy knowing that the vision in your heart is not random, not fantasy, not a mistake. It's your instruction manual from the cosmos. When you advance in the direction of your dream, divinity bows. All of creation surrenders to support you. But only when you move. The universe does not reward hesitation. It joins momentum. It unfolds not while you wait with furrowed brow, but while you dance with hands open, heart exposed, saying, "Yes, I am ready. I don't yet see the how, but I trust the who, and that who is me, guided by the infinite." You are never alone in your dream work. The dream is a two-way promise. You do your part, the stepping, the showing up, the simple yes. The universe does its part, the orchestration, the provision, the miracle in the mundane. And don't be fooled. The magic rarely arrives while you're watching. It comes sideways, subtle, slightly disguised as something ordinary. You'll be stirring your morning tea when a phone call shifts the future. You'll be sending a casual email when your breakthrough knocks. Success is divine like that. It likes to sneak in while your head is down in devotion. Money, too, is a witness to your movement. It responds to clarity, yes, but also commitment. It watches for evidence that you mean what you speak, that your desire has roots, not just wings, that you're not just dreaming, you're doing, one drop at a time. The vibration of, I am doing this, carries more power than all the wait-and-see spells. You've seen them, people waiting for the perfect timing, the perfect partner, the perfect economy. And yet, perfect never comes, and dreams begin to fade like old wallpaper. Not for you. You are not a visitor in your vision. You are the architect. You do not need a degree in manifestation to begin. You begin, and your belief becomes your qualification. Every small, courageous action accumulates, like coins dropped into an unseen treasury. Every time you show up, even when tired, even when unsure, you are adding value to your vault of trust. Nothing is ever lost. So wake up in the morning and walk forward, even if it's just a few humble steps. Write the page, make the call, say the prayer, send the offer, speak your vision aloud to the wind. Truth has ears. And success, that shimmering trickster, often arrives disguised in normal hours, wearing the clothes of routine, a chance meeting, a sudden idea, a new sense of peace that simply says, keep going, you're closer than you think. Don't wait for confidence to fall upon you like rain. Invite it through motion. Confidence is built, brick by brick, heartbeat by heartbeat, as you choose soul over safety. It is not decided once, it is chosen daily. Each step, no matter how small, is a love letter to your future self. Each move says, I believe in the dream planted in me. I will not betray it by standing still. So if you want to flow in wealth, flow first in direction. Your movement activates the hidden abundance coded in your path. This is the path of artists and mystics, creators and queens. Those who act when the world sleeps, who envision when others doubt, who believe before the proof has arrived. These are the ones whom money finds irresistible, because they're living in rhythm, not waiting, but weaving destiny with each footstep forward. Advance, beloved, not recklessly, but richly. Advance with reverence, knowing that even your stumbles are sacred. You don't need to know the whole way, only the next true step. And when you take it, watch how the ordinary hour, the one shaped like any other, becomes immortal with beauty. Watch how success finds you, on a Tuesday, while you're doing the thing you said you would do, and kisses your forehead like destiny. Chapter 6. Cultivate virtuous thoughts and deeds. Not wanting anything in return brings great return. There is a quiet elegance in doing good for its own sake, a certain opulence in giving without expectation, like a rose blooming not for applause, but simply because blooming is its nature. When you begin to cultivate your life as a garden of virtue, your actions become prayers, your thoughts become offerings, and the returns come back to you cloaked in grace, multiplied like sunlight across a golden field. Most have been trained in transactions, love for love, labor for money, praise for performance. But money, true money, the kind that flows with rhythm and soul, does not bow to bargains. It kneels at the altar of integrity. It flocks to the joyful giver, the one who paints kindness across the canvas of the world without tallying each stroke for reward. It recognizes frequency more than effort. It returns where grace first flowed, even if the giver never looked back to count. Virtue is not a costume you wear. It is an architecture you build in your inner world, thought by thought, deed by deed. It's what you choose to speak into silence, how you act when no eyes are watching. It's the purity of intention, not banana bread baked for likes, but for nourishment. Not compliments shared to curry favor, but truth spoken to water someone's worth. It's holding the door open in your heart, even if no one thanks you for it. The paradox of wealth is this: those who most fully receive it are the ones who no longer need it to validate them. Virtuous thoughts are portals. Each time you think generously, you carve grooves in your mind for prosperity to flow through. Not stingy prosperity, but a kind, lavish, radiant sort. The kind that knows lavishness isn't recklessness, but receptivity to the divine plenty always streaming. When you think in terms of value, elevate others with your thoughts, and meet situations with noble regard, the universe records that signature. It does not forget. It does not ignore. There is a rhythm to return, a divine economy. But she pays interest in mystery. Often, the abundance shows up in a different currency than you gave. A dream opportunity, a miracle connection, a moment of uncontainable joy. The ones who give without clinging to timelines without holding the receipt, without checking the mailbox every morning for their karmic payout. They are the ones whose cup runneth over without warning. This isn't a call to martyrdom. This is not about erasing your needs. It's about upgrading your motives. Doing not because you fear lack, but because you are already full. When you act not to earn, but to express, money dances to that vibration. So think lofty thoughts. Choose the better word. Offer help with no strings attached. Tend to another's garden, even when yours is still sprouting. Because the act of pure giving, the devotion to higher action, is the irrigation system of your wealth. One act of sincere compassion can burst open doors you didn't know were locked. One silent forgiveness can alter the future banknotes that come your way. This is the mysticism of merit, where goodness becomes capital, kindness becomes credit, and every noble gesture deposits itself into your cosmic account. And it adds up. Oh, it adds up. The universe is not stingy in her bookkeeping. You are not being noble for the sake of appearance. You are becoming richness itself. Abundance is not only what you receive, it is what you emanate, what you imprint into every conversation, every choice, every breath. This kind of wealth outlasts gold. It moves through generations. Live in the glow of high intent. Practice virtue without agenda. Water the world with beauty, and let go of trying to reap it on schedule. When you cultivate this level of alignment, where your goodness is not currency, but character, money takes notice. She recognizes her own. She arrives not as a tip for good behavior, but as a byproduct of inner royalty. So be generous in thought, stately in act. Don't cling to evidence or timelines. Your rewards, when rooted in purity, do not rush, they rise. Like bread leavened in divine love, like rain in the desert. Like fortune drawn to the soul that gives because it simply must. Be lavish with your light. Let your deeds be made of grace. And without even needing it, you'll find riches running toward you, because you've already become the kind of person around whom money longs to orbit. Chapter 7. Love for rendering wonderful services. Service is a sacred art. When rendered with reverence, it becomes divine currency. When done with devotion, not duty, it becomes a magnet for miracles. The whole universe hums in holy rhythm when someone, anyone, pours love into what they give. Whether you speak, heal, design, offer, or hold space, the energy with which you serve echoes far beyond the exchange. Money? Oh yes, it hears that frequency. It rushes toward those who serve with pure joy, who infuse their tasks with tenderness. Service is never small when love is large. Fall in love with what you offer. Let your work, no matter how simple or complex, become a bouquet of blessings carried into the hands of others. When your service becomes an offering from the altar of your soul, it multiplies. Do not see yourself as someone merely trying to get paid. See yourself as an artist of contribution, a sculptor in service to humanity's unfolding. The love you pour into what you render cannot help but return to you, gilded, glowing, greater. The secret is detachment from the reward, but devotion to the excellence. It's not about pushing harder or giving more hours. It's about presence, passion, precision, guided by love. Your service is your essence made visible. Are you pouring dull effort or radiant intention into it? Are your offerings dripping with resentment or rinsed in reverence? Energy transmits, always, and money listens. Render your gifts with a secret smile in your heart. The smile that knows, I'm touching a soul through this. Even if they never see me, even if they never thank me, even if no one claps, still, I give artfully. I give abundantly. I give because love flows through me. And where love flows, money rushes in behind it, like water breaking through a dam. It's not about being a martyr, not about striving to please, not about saying yes when your gut says no. That is not sacred service. That is sacrifice distorted. True service comes from fullness, not depletion. It comes from a heart so full it spills over, not one seeking to be filled up with approval or compensation. Your well must be watered, darling, but when it is, oh how you overflow. And that overflow is irresistible to abundance. Find what sparks the golden glow inside you, and do that in service. Do not chase what appears profitable. Chase what makes your palms ache to give, your eyes shimmer to witness, your soul snap open in realness. The ones who are paid abundantly are rarely those who serve the most people. but those who serve people most deeply, intimately, authentically, with magic laced between their fingertips. Your love for what you do will sell you more strongly than any pitch. Your joy will market you more boldly than any strategy. People feel energy, clients are drawn to resonance, customers are mirroring truth. If they sense love in what you offer, they won't even need convincing. They'll want to be near it, to be inside that field of generosity you inhabit. So ask yourself gently, what if my service is my prosperity? What if, simply by falling in love with the way I give, the giving multiplies to me in beautiful and boundless forms? And what if it's not just about work? What if service is also the presence you bring to a conversation, the care you infuse into a meal, the way you listen without rushing, the way you compliment without expecting return? These are currencies too, invisible to those chasing paper, luminous to those creating ripple after ripple of abundance. You shift the world when you serve with soul. You awaken wealth not just for yourself, but for everyone you touch. So give not as a chore. Give as a celebration. Render your gifts not for pay, but from pleasure. Not from trade, but from truth. Because when your service is born of love, real, embodied, resounding love, the universe cannot help but shower you with more beauty, more peace, more wealth. Not because you earned it, but because you became it. And that, beloved, is the art. Chapter 8. Desire for money. See and feel yourself already in the possessing. Desire is holy, a sacred ember placed in your chest by the hands of the infinite. It is not sin, it is not shame, it is signal, a calling, a reminder that you are not made to shrink under scarcity, but rise through longing. Money too responds not to absence, but to presence, not to a grasping ache, but a magnetic knowing. When your desire for money is pure and electric, not born from fear, but from creation, you become a tuning fork for wealth's arrival. It finds you not because you chase it, but because you've become undeniable to it. The art of desiring money is not in the wanting itself, it is in the becoming. You must begin now to dwell in the world where your desire is already fulfilled. See yourself touching the money. Smell the scent of the leather wallet. Hear the rustle of notes, the satisfying chime of coins, the silent sweep of digital numbers stacking upward. Feel the velvet of abundance in your body. Let your breath slow in confidence. Let your smile rise unsolicited. Walk throughout your day not as a seeker, but as an heir returning home to what's already yours. Imagination is your most powerful currency, and belief is your signature of exchange. When you marry the two, when you imagine vividly and believe unshakably, you withdraw from the vault of the unseen. Do not indulge in thoughts of lack. Lack is not your lineage. It is a foreign tongue that your soul forgets when you remember who you are. Speak now only in the language of wealth fulfilled. Step into your vision like stepping into moonlight. Soft, effortless, inevitable. See the money in your account. See the digits rising gently, faithfully. Smile at it the way you'd find it. Smile at a friend who always shows up on time. Speak to it with love. Money is not your master, it is your companion, your creation, your mirror. And it loves to be seen, valued, and desired from joy, not desperation. What would it feel like if money never left you wondering? If it came timely and generously, like rain after harvest, like breath after prayer? What would your body feel like if you knew, deeply knew, that wealth was a river that never runs dry, only deepens with your trusting? That's the feeling you must live in. That is the inner atmosphere you must dwell in, with or without outer proof. Money is waiting for your certainty. It moves toward those who have decided, not those who are debating. You are the source, not the sink. All channels flow from the God within, and when you see yourself rightly, as the manifold expression of a generous universe, then, and only then, does the flow become limitless. The millions you desire are simply energy, asking to be formed through you. You are not earning, you are aligning. You are not deserving, you are remembering. Desire is not logical, it is lyrical. It dances, it sings, it moves with rhythm. Don't drown it in doubt. Don't choke it with plans so tight there's no room for mystery. Let your desire breathe. Let it intoxicate you like incense in a sacred temple. Let your visions of wealth become so vivid they leave their scent on the air, so rich they imprint upon your skin. The universe is always eavesdropping on what you dare to dream. Make your dreams worthy of wings. If you knew money was on its way, Would you spend today in gratitude or worry? That question is a portal. The answer is your key. Embody the one who already has. Wear your wealth now, not just on your skin, but in your posture, your decisions, the quality of your silence. Money prefers confidence cloaked and calm, not neediness, not pleading, but the presence of someone who has already made room for more. You do not wish for money as though you are begging the sky. You allow it, as if welcoming a friend you trust with your life. See yourself living richly. See yourself creating with ease. See yourself walking into rooms as the frequency of abundance itself. Let there be no tension in your desire, only clarity, expectancy, delight. This is how the floodgates open. This is how money flows like art. When you paint your inner world as if the treasure is already in your hands. When the subconscious believes it is done, the universe begins to obey. Energy lines up. Opportunities blossom. Random turns become divine appointments. All because you dared to live your wealth within, even before it arrived. Desire well, beautiful soul. See yourself already deeply wealthy, deeply supported, and from that place, act, thank, create, manifest, and soon enough, perhaps not with trumpets, but with golden silence, the money appears, exactly on time. Chapter 9. Desire for money. See and feel yourself already in the possessee. Close your eyes, dear heart, not to escape, but to enter. To feel. To remember. Inside that still and sacred space behind your eyelids lies not a fantasy, but a portal. Walk through it. Walk as the one who already holds the abundance. The account is full. The client has paid. The home is yours, and it smells like fresh flowers. The air hums in harmony with your core. You are not dreaming now. You are choosing frequency. The universe replies not to your wishes, but to the version of you who already believes. Desire is not a fault to fix. It is the breath of the divine within you longing to expand. Your craving for money is not shameful, shallow, or selfish. It is a sacred spark, an invitation to become, to unfold more fully into your purpose. You desire money because you yearn for freedom, service, elevation, not just for yourself, but for the world you're here to bless. Own that. Desire is holy fire. When you release the guilt wrapped around your want, you ignite the magnetism buried beneath it. See yourself not as someone hoping and striving for riches, but as one who already lives inside their wealth, not with arrogance, but ease. When you spend with gratitude, it affirms your trust in endless circulation. When you visualize with faith, it calibrates your energy to call it in. Speak of money the way a lover speaks of their beloved, intimately, affectionately, as if it already shares your home, your bed, your dreams. You don't seduce abundance through effort, but through embodiment. This is the art of becoming. Being so vibrationally in tune with the outcome, so sensually in love with the having, that the universe mirrors your inner opulence with outer expression, feeling to the texture of wealth. Does your bed get softer? Do your days feel roomier? Does your spine straighten when you walk into a room knowing that you are deeply supported, deeply supplied? Play in that frequency. Let your mind romance your dream life like a symphony, rich, textured, swelling in crescendo. You are not waiting. You are aligning. The mistake many make is treating money as something out there detached, delayed, conditional. But it is already here in the field of infinite potential. Spiritually, you are already rich. The blueprint is done. The delivery waits only on your readiness to accept. To accept is to feel as if. To accept is to let the emotional waters become so still, so trusting, that they perfectly reflect the prosperity already offered to you. But don't just desire like a beggar ringing a bell. Desire like a queen returning to her kingdom. See what you want. Feel it as if it's yours. Touch the wood of your dream home. Smell the ink of those large checks. Laugh from the gut of a woman who no longer calculates survival, but dances in overflow. The subconscious does not know the difference between imagined and lived, and what the subconscious believes, the world delivers. So write your story every morning with vivid feeling. How do you rise? What does your coffee taste like when it's paired with freedom? What do your emails look like when you're paid just to be fully you? Feel the ink of those visions run so deep you walk different, talk different, tip different. Trust me, money responds to resonance. It responds to those who not only ask, but believe they've already received. Not as performance, not as pretending, but as practice, as devotion, as relaxation into truth. You are the dreamer, yes, but you are also the receiver, the nurturer, the one with open palms and a softened heart. Make room inside you for what you say you want. Money doesn't flow to a clenched spirit. It flows to one willing to feel rich before the riches arrive. So, see yourself already there, already blessed, already bursting with beauty. And soon enough, the world outside will shape itself to match the masterpiece you became within. Let your desire breathe. Let it shimmer. Let it call your name back to the throne you never truly left. Wealth isn't coming. It's remembering its way to you. Chapter 10. Being good. There is a sound in the universe more powerful than thunder. It is quieter than a whisper, yet moves mountains. It is the vibration of goodness, radiant, anchored, unshakable. And you, beloved, were born to emanate it. Not perform it, not outsource it, not contort yourself to mimic it, but to embody it, fully and freely. In a world chasing shinier, louder, faster, being good is a revolutionary act, and in the sacred mathematics of the universe, it's also the most lucrative. Goodness is not passive politeness, it is potent alignment. It's what swirls through the heartbeat of ancient trees and oceans unshaken by storm. It is strength cloaked in kindness, power blooming as presence. When you choose goodness, truly, soulfully, you become gravitational. Not because you've earned it, but because you've matched your spirit to the cosmic source of all abundance. Your goodness becomes a lighthouse. And money, like all shimmering truth, is drawn to light. Be good, not for accolade, but because it feels like home in your bones. Be good not as an obligation, but as a celebration. Let goodness be your wealth frequency. Be good in thought, not out of fear of punishment, but out of reverence for the garden of your mind. Your thoughts are portals, each one spinning reality like a loom. Think richly of others, and you weave gold into your own soul. With every compassionate thought, with every generous days, the field of prosperity around you ripples wider. Be good in speech. Speak not from scarcity, but from sincerity. Speak with words that uplift, that carry beauty, that breathe belief into every syllable. Your voice is a spell. Are you blessing or binding with it? There is money waiting, sitting silently in the corners of your life, longing to move toward warmth, toward the frequency of a generous heart. Do not mistake goodness for weakness. It's the fiercest frequency there is. For when you are good, fully, unwaveringly, you disarm lack. You dissolve resistance. You become the kind of energy money feels safe with. And when money feels safe with you, it comes. There is a wealth that moves beyond calculation. The wealth of being the type of person only heaven could dream of. Being good enlarges your energetic field. It sharpens your intuition. It refines your discernment. It polishes you into a mirror of love, reflecting back to the world not just what is, but what could be. And as you become that, money takes notice. Not because you chased it, but because you became what it's been seeking. Money longs to belong to the good-hearted, to be held by hands that create and not destroy, to circulate through lives woven with reverence and joy. Let your life be proof that wealth and goodness are not opposites, but soulmates. And yes, there may have been teachings, beliefs, memories written into your being that whispered otherwise, that told you goodness must suffer, that richness is the reward for clever games, not honest hearts, that virtue must always sit at the back of the banquet. But those were echoes of unworthiness, ghosts with no authority in your palace of becoming. You were born good. Go back to that place. From there, the riches rise with ease. Consider, what if your kindness is currency? What if your integrity is a magnet? What if your decency is divine strategy? What if being good is the most profitable business philosophy you've ever tasted? Let goodness not be a fleeting act, but your state of being. Be generous when no one's looking. Be loving when it's not earned. Be steady when others falter. Be the warmth you wish the world delivered to you 10 years ago. That very warmth, when given freely now, circles back accessorized in treasure. To be rich and rooted. To be prosperous and principled. To be wealthy and wildly loving. This is what the new generation of abundance looks like. You're not here to be merely impressive. You're here to be good. And in that, impossibly rich. Chapter 11. Being good. Goodness isn't weakness. It is majesty dressed in gentleness. It is the unseen force that stitches together galaxies and souls. To be good is not to shrink. It is to rise firm in virtue, rich in heart, luminous in presence. And oh, how money responds to the luminous. Because money, like all energy, follows light. Being good is not some rulebook of moral points. It is alignment, deep, golden coherence between your spirit and your steps. It means that when you say yes, the wise part of you agrees. That when you give, it's not to be seen, but simply because overflow is your native rhythm. Goodness is not about being perfect, it's about being real, radiant, and rooted in truth. The world may have taught you that goodness gets overlooked, that softness is manipulated, or that kindness is a currency spent without return. But in the realm where real magic pulses in the invisible field that weaves through everything, goodness is the greatest attractor. It isn't meek, it's magnetic. It calls forward pure opportunities, divine connections, and soulful wealth. The kind of wealth that feels like home. Being good is not passive. It is fierce in its softness. It is choosing benevolence when bitterness would be easier. It is honor in an age of performance. Generosity in a generation guarding their cups. You walk into a room and the room breathes easier. This too is riches. This too is royalty. Don't underestimate the value of your vibration. Being good may not scream, but it sings, and life listens. You are not here to hustle for every drop. Life is not meant to be wrung out, but received. When you nourish your soil with goodness in your words, your contracts, your creations, you create fertile ground for golden things to grow. Money finds those who move through the world with soul-smooth hands, who treat others like treasure and the moment like miracle, who say, "I see you," and mean it. There is no scarcity in generosity, no lack in love. The parts of you that shimmer when no one is watching, those are the pieces the universe multiplies. The client who senses your integrity, the reader who feels your care, the opportunity that circles back, because your name is carried on whispers of grace. Let them say, "When I met you, I felt safe. I felt truth." There is no better brand than that. To be good is to trust, to know that alignment outranks strategy, and that joy is a business plan. You return to your values like a monk returns to silence, not for applause, but for power. This is soul wealth, where money is not decoration, but the fruit of divine cultivation. You don't chase it, you become it. All through the humble, holy act of being good. Imagine your goodness like sunlight, not asking for anything in return. Simply warming, simply nourishing, until life grows anyway. You don't need every result to reflect immediately. You live in the faith economy now. You invest in the invisible. And the returns, oh, they come. In clients whose hearts match your own. In checks that carry joy, not dread. In a home built from true fulfillment, not performance exhaust. The art of money is also the art of goodness. Not the saccharine kind, but the soulful, sovereign, sacred kind. The kind you wear like a garment inside your skin. The kind that changes negotiations without words. The kind that makes your presence a balm and your work a blessing. So let your receipts carry integrity. Let your offerings be prayers disguised as products. Let your voice be velvet and your yes a sanctuary. Watch how money responds. Watch how it shifts shape, no longer a puzzle, but a poem. Being good is not about looking good. It's about being gold from the inside, tempered in love, truth, touched by tenderness, lit from within. In a world tilted by imitation and noise, you become the rarest frequency, real, and real wealth lasting, lively, liberating wealth, kneels before realness. So go on, let goodness lead, not in a rush, not for votes, but because your soul knows, this is the path, this is the power, this is the gold. Chapter 12. Be kind to yourself. There is no velvet richer than kindness placed gently upon your own skin. No gold brighter than the light your soul glows when you are loving toward your own becoming. To be kind to yourself is not indulgence, it is invocation. It calls forth your divinity. Money, like any lover, approaches the one who is receptive, open, and soft to their own soul. We were taught, so often, the currency of self-critique, that if we punished hard enough, we would perform better, that if we withheld love until we were worthy, we might finally attract the reward. But this was backwards alchemy. Wealth answers to warmth. Like flowers bend to sunlight, Abundance blooms in the presence of internal gentleness, not pressure. You cannot magnetize millions with a heart full of self-judgment. You cannot become a vessel for more if you're constantly confirming your not enoughness. Your finances respond to how you hold yourself in your own presence. Speak harshly to your soul, and your field contracts. Speak with tenderness, and coin begins to color your world again. What if you began each day like an artist approaching a blank canvas, not with dread or criticism, but sheer awe at what you might express? What if your inner dialogue was the studio session of the divine, layering joy onto grace onto breath? This is more than affirmation. It's surrender to a more beautiful frequency. Being kind to yourself is being patient with the unfolding. When the numbers don't match the vision, when the deal falls through, when the healing isn't fast enough, you lean in, you light a candle of self-forgiveness. You trust yourself a little more fiercely. That trust creates a vibration of resilience threaded with gold. It tells money, I am already safe, already wealthy internally. Come dance with me in form when you're ready, beloved. Some days, your version of abundance will be tears down your cheeks, hot tea in your hand, and a slow unraveling of old shame. Some days, it will be invoices paid in full and unexpected windfalls. Do not separate them. Both are sacred. Be kind when it is raining and when it is raining gold. Your softness is not weakness. It's the artistry of receiving. We often seek money to finally feel secure, worthy, or adored, but it is our willingness to feel secure, worthy, and adored now that renders the field fertile for wealth. This becomes easier only when you stop blaming yourself for what you were never meant to carry. Guilt and shame are expensive roommates. Evict them, inviting grace. Kindness to self is not passive. It reinvents your timeline. It recalibrates your vibration. It is the quiet power behind quantum leaps. It's what allows you to keep showing up in devotion when logic tells you to give up. It is invisible support, an internal coach whispering, you're allowed, you're miraculous, you're more than this moment, you're becoming. Will money flow like crazy when you're unkind to yourself? Perhaps, but it will feel hollow, elusive, and riddled with contraction. Money without self-regard is like music in a crowded room, present, but distant. When you become loving to yourself, the richness doesn't just show up, it stays. It kisses your life in ways that aren't even financial. Peace, fulfillment, radiance. This is wealth. So, slow down today. Offer yourself the kind of love you'd give to a tender child, a masterpiece, half-painted. Speak to yourself in the language of compassion. Feed yourself beautiful thoughts and nourishing belief. When you falter, bless the fall. When you soar, hold yourself with joy instead of pressure. Let your inner world become the friendliest place money could ever visit. You are not the mistake. You are the miracle learning to remember. You do not need fixing, only more spaciousness to bloom. There is nothing noble in self-denial, and no virtue in self-neglect. Kindness is not a pause in progress. It is the propulsion of the feminine. It is what makes wealth sustainable, alive, and intimate. Be kind to yourself, and the world becomes more generous. Be kind to yourself, and wealth becomes less about chasing and more about choosing. Be kind to yourself not because it's easy, but because you are worth everything. Even now, especially now. You are the art. Kindness is the brush. Paint yourself golden. You will find that the masterpiece, that is always being you, flows richest when it is held with love.